Lauderdale, and then Florida State as well.
Now, did you say you were married, or
I am married?
Are you
yes.
going to talk Matt into getting married, or I know you guys know each
I'll
other?
have to speak to him after.
All right. So,
do you have kids?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Enough about
on it.
Enough about. Oh, you are. How many would you like to have?
That's an argument.
Oh, well, how many do you want to have?
3 to 5.
And she wants 1.
No.
She wants more than 3 to
Yes,
5.
yes.
Wow. How many would she
Wow.
like?
She would probably take as many as she could get.
Right.
Wow.
So you better get at it then. If she's
Good
going to
thing
have
you're
more
a
than 3 to
physician then.
5.
They're
Wow.
not cheap.
Yeah. The world needs more babies. That's what I think. More kids running around. More. No joke. I mean, I think there should be more babies running around. And bulldogs.
So would you're in a practice in Bonita. Is it your practice or
It
you're
is.
in
It's my own practice.
It's your own practice.
Wow.
So
do you have a
if
Rolex?
the beach got
No.
if the beach got when the beach gets all back, you could maybe do a satellite thing
Yes,
here.
definitely.
Yeah, they
definitely
need a
something
doctor.
we've
They
thought about.
need, yeah.
Talk to Adderholt. He's looking for all kinds of things like that. So
Do you ever get calls like from your neighbors for like consultations?
From time to time. From time to time, yes.
I just want to say our daughter is criticizing everything I do right now. She's
she
come a long
is.
way from never wanting to
Yeah,
see the show. Now she's
she knows the
criticizing
drill.
everything I do.
She's embarrassed
So
right
one
now.
is enough sometimes. Let me tell you. No. So Jeremy, you're
Tyler.
I know. Joking now. You want to be on the LPA.
What prompted that?
So wanting to get on the LPA, once all this stuff started happening after Hurricane Ian and you kind of started seeing all the changes that was going to happen, I started looking into what the LPA was. And if you actually read the code of Fort Myers Beach and you see what the LPA is there for, it's to further the welfare of the citizens in the town and to promote a better, convenient, efficient, safe, and attractive community for the town. And I think this part's really important to ensure that the unique and natural characteristics of the island are upheld.
Did you study that and memorize it? Is that word for word? Because I'm going to go
word for word. Definitely.
Wow.
Well, he's had a lot of practice memorizing stuff. They have to do that in doctoring school.
Well, why do you have to have such an attitude toward it?
Well, and I think it's important because I think we've gotten away. We're arguing over height and density, and I think there's a lot more that goes into development than that. You look at those words, and it's efficient, convenient, and that means traffic and infrastructure and water and storm drains. I think it's more than just how high is the building going to be, and I think it's how it affects the community in numerous ways.
But there is
I think the other thing that's important in what you said is the unique quality
of the
beach.
unique and natural characteristics of the island. I mean, that's the quote mission statement of the LPA.
Okay, so you've read the code and you've memorized it, and so what does that really mean?
I think that the thing that kind of pushed me to submitting my application was when there was talks about changing the comprehensive plan. So going back to the codes, if you look, the comprehensive plan is the guide to all development within the town. That's what the comprehensive plan is. So once I saw that there was talks about changing the comprehensive plan, you know, right now, outside of Seagate and London Bay, they'll hold Lahaina Inn properties for sale, which is 2 acres. That's next to the Sandpiper property, which is another 2 acres. Wyndham, that's 4 acres. There's 3 or 4 acres within Times Square. So that's just on the Gulf side, about 10 to 12 acres of undeveloped land that hasn't been purchased. So that's, I think, that setting a precedent with the comprehensive plan.
You say that, but is your concern that developers will buy that and build bigger buildings?
I think they will if we set the precedent that they can.
What are you worried about change-wise in the comprehensive plan?
Building height, mostly.
Yeah. So how do you interpret that a change in the comprehensive plan that you've seen discussed is going to allow more height?
Because height is directly related to the comprehensive plan.
Right. But what change do you see them talking about that leads you to believe they're going to allow more height?
I didn't necessarily say they were talking about that. I'm just saying the comprehensive plan is going to change, and I'd like to be involved in those conversations.
Yeah, because you don't want it to change.
I think it can change, but I think that change is a spectrum. If it's going to change, I don't think it needs to change by a ton. You know, the comprehensive plan was written quite a while ago. I do think it could change, but I think that some of the things that people are asking for are a little bit too much.
So how high is high enough for you?
I think that that's a difficult question to answer.
It is. That's why I asked it. But go ahead right out and
well,
because that's really all people are talking about.
Right. But I think that, again, you know, if we're going to talk about changing the comprehensive plan, due diligence needs to be done to understand what may be changing one floor.
So, Tyler, so 17 too high or 17 okay?
Way too high.
10 is 10 too high or is 10 okay?
I still think 10 would be too high.
8?
Again, I think that due diligence has to be done.
So
to
you're
see,
closer to 8 than you are to 17.
Yeah,
is
most
4
definitely.
the limit?
You know, I think 4 is a good place to start.
Yeah.
But I think, again, seeing the impact
somewhere
of,
between 4 and 8.
You know, seeing the impact of what those changes will have. You know, you can look, okay, there's this much property. If you change it by 3 stories, how many more units is that going to allow? And how's that going to impact infrastructure? I think that Margaritaville has set a precedent that you could have a 3-4 story building and still create a really nice resort that's attractive and people will want to come to.
But
and
you guys better applaud for me just once today before
my
the show
Lord.
is over. Otherwise, my feelings are going to be hurt.
And, you know, getting back to development, I think that we've all seen over the last 2 years, a lot of stuff has happened. And if you look at the places that have come back, Snug Harbor, Wahoo Willie's, they're all locally owned and ran businesses. I think that the people that wanted to come back quick are people that are involved in the community. And we saw with Margaritaville just how long it took to get this place built because of lawsuits and stuff.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen when these people want to build these 17 stories? We're going to have it built after the pier.
Can I just ask a question?
It's your show.
All right.
Every show she's got to say, can I ask a question?
I got to get in there. It looks like I'm interrupting and I don't want somebody to complain. What is your opinion on when buildings or when developers are offering public benefit? We hear a lot about that. What is your take on that?
I think public benefit can be used as a tool to garner support when truly that the underlying
what is public benefit is the question to you. What's public benefit?
Public benefit to me is creating something that's going to attract tourism so that people that depend on that can have good livelihoods.
So be specific.
Having spaces that allow people who maybe aren't just staying at the resort to be able to enjoy the amenities, such as the old tiki bar at the Outrigger, such as I think Diamond Head with Cabanas has set a really good precedent. And
so you think a restaurant is public benefit?
Yes.
Okay. What about parks?
Absolutely.
Beach accesses?
Yes.
Okay.
But, you know, like, I think that, again, it has to be taken into consideration that sometimes people might use the public benefit and to try to get something they want when really it might not be worth it.
So could there be enough public benefit to get you to go above 10?
No.
Okay.
So we're just going to play go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say, I think that you were talking about special exemptions. You know, a lot of people, especially in the condos, have said, well, you know, like Estero Beach Club, and they had however many units before. And I think that special exemptions can be taken into place when you had this amount of units. And I think they should get that amount of units back. But codes change, setbacks change. So those are where those special exemptions should be taking place,
so
not just for every single
So you're okay with EIBC and the way they presented it. If you were on the LPA, would you vote for EIBC right now? Estero Island Beach Club, for those that don't know?
I haven't really seen all of it, so I can't answer that.
Okay. But you are, okay, so Seagate.
No.
That's a no, hard no. Not even want to think. They're offering a park on the other side. They're not going to build on the other side.
There's not enough public benefit.
Well, I didn't necessarily say that. I just think that if you go back to that, preserving the unique and natural characteristics of the island
to get 17 stories,
right.
I think.
I think that's just too much.
You could never go back to an RV park.
I agree, but you don't have to go to 17 stories.
But
either.
you also understand they're under their density there. So what they could do, if you're a hard no, is they could also say, okay, you won't let us have the 16 stories or whatever it is. We can do a resort with a multiplier right now with a multiplier of 2.5 and get 400 some odd hotel rooms. Would you be okay with that?
I think that. I mean, I don't know the density. I have to look at it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I've only seen what they presented thus far, and I don't agree with that.
Okay. Outrigger?
No, absolutely not.
So far, what about Moss Marina?
Parts of it, yes.
Well, they can't build parts of it.
Well,
I mean,
they don't
I
have
think that you can't really take.
but theirs isn't up there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they have
the arches and all that.
The arches. Yeah. So you would. Why are you kind of leaning toward a yes to that one or not a no?
Mostly with height.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
What about the infrastructure on that side of the island and the traffic on that side of the island to something you'd think that'd be okay?
Well, I think that that's something we'd have to look into, and that's why I brought that up. I think that the town itself needs to do its due diligence to see how it will impact that. I don't think you can just approve it without seeing how it's going to affect it.
In the pecking order of importance on the beach, who are more important, the residents or the tourists?
Residents. But I think that they're directly impacted by the tourist. A lot of the residents depend on the tourists for their income. So I think that, for me, being a full-time resident, that the residents are more important, but I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive.
Okay.
I think that a lot of people, vacation rental owners, hospitality workers, people that own business on the beach, are directly impacted by the tourists. So I think that you can benefit both, significantly. And also, I think it's important to attract developers who are going to build things that are going to bring people here year round. It's difficult to make a living here in the hospitality industry right now. So having, a bunch of condos where sit empty for 6 to 8 months a year isn't going to benefit us in September.
Yeah.
What do you think would? Well, what do you think could come that would be a benefit?
I would push resorts over condos and hotels and things like that, and things that would attract certain.
Wait, say that again. You would do what?
I would push for developers to think about more resorts like a Margaritaville style more than condos because they tend to sit empty throughout the year. And I think that if you have entertainment things like resorts, Margaritaville, we've seen in the past,
water park,
Roar Offshore, Singer-Songwriters Festival, it brings these things throughout the summer to kind of give us an economic boom.
So just to play devil's advocate or hear your argument about resorts compared to condos, Seagate has said they will not be vacation rentals. They have to be full-time residents of that building.
Right. So full-time residents, and you can't rent them out.
Right.
I would probably see those sitting empty for most of the year.
But wouldn't that be okay as far as the density and the traffic goes?
No, because the only time that that's going to impact it is in season. Those people are going to be here in season. There's no traffic right now. It doesn't matter what's happening in the summer.
Yeah. So the other thing is you say more resorts than condos, but the resort traffic is more transit than the condo traffic. And there appears to be a concern with traffic on this island.
I don't know if I'd fully agree with that, because
I see.
if you have a condo, people are going to be in their condo. They have a car, maybe 2 to 3 cars. They're going to and from the store. If you're a resort and it's a nice resort, you're probably going to stay there, maybe Uber there. I think that the car traffic is less transient, actually.
Okay. So if you were on the LPA at the time, do you want to ask a question?
I was
going to
say, what do you think can be done to promote
pause too long when you
more
pause too long.
Biking, more walking, more reducing the reliance on vehicles?
Well, I think going back to that mission statement of the LPA, creating a more efficient, convenient, safe, and attractive community, is we have to look at how the development's going to affect our ability to do things like that. Maybe have a bike path or install some form of public transportation, or I know a lot of it has been discussed about allowing electric bikes on the beach. I think that there's different ways. Do I have a direct answer for that right now? No, but I think it's something that has to be involved in the decision making.
If you were on the LPA at the time Myerside was voted on, which way would you have voted on that one?
I would have voted no, but at the same time, I think that they had a lot of good ideas, and I think that they had a good perspective. There was a few things I disagreed with.
You think what did you disagree with?
More so just the impact that it had on that plot of land. I just thought it was a little bit too much for that plot of land.
Too much density.
Yeah. And so what's your opinion on the current LPA? Do you think they're doing a good job, or are you concerned that they're leading you down a path that you don't agree with, which caused you to run?
Well, I mean, in regards to the current LPA, I think they probably have one of the more difficult 2 years that anyone has ever had following the storm and really answering a lot of questions about development. And I do think they've done a good job. And I think that for the majority of it, they've voted the way I would vote. But at the same time, I think we're in an unprecedented time with changing of the comp plan and the next 2 years of development, where me as a full-time resident, someone who grew up on the beach, I would feel like I was doing myself an injustice if I didn't try to get involved.
They did vote 5-2 in favor of Myerside, though. But so that was
everything.
One. Okay. All right.
How are you, being a doctor with a practice, the time?
Well, I wouldn't have put it in my application, and I didn't think that I had the time to, to
show starts
at
10 o'clock.
So,
why are you so late?
I think that growing up and being able to go through medical school and balance everything in my life has given me the ability to focus on different things. And again, I wouldn't have applied for it if I didn't think I could commit the time.
Do you have a lot of loans you have to pay off?
Yes.
How much in loans do you have?
More than I'd like to say.
Yeah. You didn't get the free loan pass from Biden?
No.
Is it less than 250,000?
Right around there. Yeah.
Wow, you have no time for the LPA, brother. You're gonna have to. Wow, that's a lot of patience.
You need to be seeing more patients, then you got to pay that.
Well, luckily my wife's a physician as well.
Kids?
Oh, wow,
well, there you go.
Jeez, double doctor
you didn't
family.
Say that.
I'm surprised you don't have a Rolex yet.
Are you guys in the same practice?
No, she works with Millennium actually.
Okay.
So
I love Millennium.
Oh, stop. How many patients can you see in one day? Like when you're ripping through these people?
I mean, it kind of depends. I run a different type of practice called direct primary care, so it kind of changes.
What's the most you've ever seen in one day?
Oh gosh, in the hospital as a resident, over 80.
Over 80 people in one day. Holy moly, you're working 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Jeez.
What's the weirdest thing you've had to deal with?
Things people like to put weird things in weird places.
Okay.
Really?
I'll just leave it at that.
Like a proctologist kind of thing.
Yeah,
wow, that's.
So was that when you were in the ER? Did you do
in surgical? Yeah. Residency training.
And do they always say, "Doc, it was a 1 in a million accident"?
There's always a great story.
What do you do with people when they come in? They're like going through the ER with strep throat. I mean, do you sit there and go, come on?
Well, I think and that's a whole other thing. But some people, that's the only place they have to go. So it can be hard.
So what is your opinion on how this town council is doing as it relates to approving projects?
Well, I think that they, again, have a very difficult task. I don't think any town council has ever really had to make such impactful decisions in such a short amount of time.
Agreed.
They haven't really made any big decisions yet as far as the development. So that's coming up. And I think that, when you look at the town council, I've lived on the island for more than all of them. So I think that even in my young age, I have a perspective that's invaluable. And again, that's why I want to be involved.
Have you spoken to anybody on the council and say, listen, I'm running, I want you to consider me? I mean, that's allowed.
Not really. That's what I get. I appreciate you giving me this platform to kind of share my perspective.
Oh, they're watching. They're watching.
And, over time, I hope to make those relationships, and we'll see what happens.
Should have come on Sunday.
With the mayor. You're always welcome to come by.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come by.
So right now we have you running. Jim is all three that are up. I think it's Jim and John McLean, and I think it's Don Sudduth. Those three, and then you and Ann. I think her name is Ann Neef. Of course, I suck with names, so I'm probably screwing that up too. So it's nice to see that there are five. It's going to make the decision tough for the town council, which I like. I like to see people getting
really
involved. It's a good thing. With the
and
crazy.
then, my plug for myself, I guess, would be there's really no one that I grew up here. I've lived here my entire life, and it adds a unique perspective. I grew up here. I worked in the hospitality industry. I'm now a property owner. I know how it impacts every aspect of life here on the island. So,
what would you like to say to the builders out there that are looking to build buildings on Fort Myers Beach?
Well, I think that if we create a attractive, comprehensive plan that's easy to navigate, it'll be better for them as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Even if it is less
something a little more specific to that. If they're bringing a presentation in front of you, what would you like to say to them? Because they're all going to try and lobby you if you get on the committee.
Stick to the comprehensive plan. I think it's simple as that. And stick to the codes and stick to the comprehensive plan.
So what is your go ahead.
You going to ask about the CPD?
No, what is your understanding of the comprehensive plan as far as a developer coming in and making a presentation? How do you understand it?
I'll try to answer. I don't know if I fully understand your question, but the comprehensive plan pretty much lays out, depending on the zoning district, what you can build. I mean, it's pretty easy. It discusses height, it discusses density, it discusses what type of resort or condo you can have. So I think that as long as they stick to that and the presentation fits within that, then it's okay.
But the thing I've always said this: the back door for the town of Fort Myers Beach is the CPD, the comprehensive.
Nope.
The CPD, whatever the hell it stands for. It stands for something. And the developer comes in, he can't get what he wants in the comprehensive plan, so you're allowed to ask for a CPD, which gives you the right to ask for height and more density. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, but that's where they do this horse trading for the public benefit.
I think that precedents are going to be set in the next couple of months, and I think that will determine. That's why I went back to all those other properties that are still for sale, and that was only on the Gulf side. That doesn't include things like the Dolphin Inn and stuff. So I think that if developers see that they could simply ask for it and they're going to get it, they're going to buy those properties and want to develop whatever they want. If we stick to it and don't let them do that, then we'll be fine.
Yeah. So if you had 5 of the council members sitting out front here, of course that would be a violation of sunshine law because they didn't advertise.
So
but
these
if they
5 people right here,
what would you say to them why they should pick you? Because it is going to be, I mean, there are 3 members incumbents and then 2 new people. So how do you get your young self on this committee?
Well, again, in regards to everything I said, I think that, I've been here my whole life. I have a passion for the island. I have a passion for the community that no one else can even appreciate because they didn't grow up here as far as the town council members. And I've also spent, the last couple years going through Hurricane Ian, being a property owner and doing all this, seeing how things like Hurricane Ian impact it. And I just think that combination of growing up here, the passion I have for the island, and now understanding the things that go into being a resident on this island is invaluable.
What happened to your property?
Luckily, I was over on Indian Bayou at the time. I'm now on Curlew, and I think Indian Bayou is probably one of the more spared streets.
Okay.
We actually did pretty well. I was at my house during the storm, and, so I was up on stilts, and we did pretty good.
So you were on the island during the storm, and then right after?
Yes.
Well, did you... Did you
it was
have
surreal.
to use your service? I mean, were people
actually
in
a little bit, but luckily not too much.
So one of the things that you might hear from the town council is, oh, you're young, you haven't been on a committee yet, and maybe you should serve on a different committee. If they said that to you, what's your comeback?
Well, even though I'm young, again, I've been here for longer than all of them, so I don't think that really,
you might not want to use that though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, in regards
so
to
you have experience in that.
Yes, but also throughout med school and in undergraduate, I was part of government, and both those things. I was president of multiple different clubs and committees, and although it might not be the same, I think that my experience within that has given me the ability to understand how these things work.
So I was going to give you the answer to the question. If they pull that crap on you and say, you shouldn't just jump to the LPA, you should say, well, John King,
I knew you were
never elected to anything. You were never appointed to anything, and you're now a town council member.
Right.
So I mean, work him first because he gets the jig right there.
Yeah, but that happens with lots of offices.
Yeah.
People
Why do you say it like that?
Well, and I think it's more important, not to think about that, but to listen to what I have to say and think about it. And if that's what they want, then they should. And as far as the citizens that live here is to, if they agree to endorse me and tell the council what you want.
So we put a story up that we used his real name, not his fake name. We put a story up that you were applying for the LPA, and you got a lot of positive comments from people. Did you put them up to that, or
I didn't? I think it's just part of being a local.
Yeah, I was just surprised so many people read the newsletter. so now, have you been attending some of the LPA meetings? Kind of trying to get kind of a. I mean, some of those freaking things are long, man. You're gonna have to take a day off of work for those meetings.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. And I've been there. You know, I think that last one they kind of pulled some stuff at the end, and most of the agenda was changed. But
wait, what? Did I miss something?
At the last one, that's when they were going to discuss things. And they changed. The
comprehensive plan,
right, and all that. So, which I'm happy they did because I think more public input's important.
They needed time,
right?
Yeah, I think that was actually at a town council meeting where they pulled it because they were going to make some changes to the. I don't want to get into the muckety muck of the details, but they are going to have.
It's better to go slow and really have the time to look at it.
Yeah, they are going to have public meetings where the public can actually, when they have those joint meetings, they don't actually let the public speak. I don't know why, but they didn't. But they are going to have, no, they did at one of them. I shouldn't say that. They are going to have public meetings where the public can get up and you know what the majority are going to say, stick to the comprehensive plan. That's really what they've been saying on our page. And
yeah, but I think now, one of the more important things and why I applied is because that's going to change.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Tyler/Jeremy? Anybody here? Anybody in the Facebook audience? Well, good luck, man. We wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a battle, but we appreciate you coming down. Big hand for Tyler, everybody. All right. We are going to have Ellen come.